Tried to film this a couple of times before and wasn't happy with it because of stupid reasons. Like, I don't like the way I look, which is dumb because it's not about the way I look. And I want to look up whether there's a actual term for the thing that I'm feeling, rather than saying, this is the thing that I'm feeling, there might be a term for it. If you know, let me know in the comments, because that's what this is all about. This is not about research. This is about me and Dreamboy and you. Because if you're here, you've probably listened to Dreamboy, and you're probably sad that it's over too. That's why I'm here. This is episode 1. And I don't know how many episodes there'll be because I've got a lot of half-baked ideas and full-baked feelings that I don't know how to articulate about Dreamboy the podcast. And I thought I'd begin here with this idea that I've been kicking around, which is sadness for lost potential. And that's one of the things where I was like, should I look up whether there's a word for it, whether this is one of those things that there's a word for it in another language but not in English. But no, I should just say I have sadness for the lost potential of this thing, which is different to regret, I think. Regret is when you had control over an outcome and you acted in a way that you wish you hadn't, and that outcome was something that you didn't like because of the way you acted. So this is not regret, this is sadness for lost potential, because I had no control over whether there was a second season of Dreamboy or not. But I just really wanted there to be, because there was so much potential, and now that potential is gone. But I've gotten ahead of myself. What is Dreamboy? I mean, I'm sure you know if you're here watching this, but in case you don't know, hi, welcome, please stay. Dreamboy was a podcast, and there is one season of it, and it's very good. I'm sure it was really difficult coming up with an elevator pitch for it. It's a podcast created by a man called Dane Terry. In the publishing world, there's this new term that's come out in the last 10 years called new adult literature. You're not quite a teenager, you're not quite a young adult, but you're not quite a real adult yet. You're a new adult. And I feel like this might sit into that category. Or, alternatively, it might be a quarter-life crisis story. See, the protagonist, who is also called Dane, I think there's probably a good deal of author insertion there. He is a musician who has been living in New York and has become very tired and burnt out, and he moves to a small town in Cleveland, Ohio, and that's where the story takes place. It's this story about new adulthood, it's this story about being exhausted as a young or new adult, which I identified with. And it's also a gay romance. It's not necessarily a gay love story, but there's definitely romantic and erotic gay overtones to it, which I'm sure is what a lot of people were drawn to, this representation that they don't normally get. What else is it? A suburban American mystery. A suburban American mystery. The way we see a resurgence of in this day and age in things like Stephen King's It and Stranger Things And all of the ones that were cool in the 80s, where the protagonists were 4 kids who all had bikes. But the protagonist isn't a kid with a bike, it's a guy with a keyboard who has gay feelings for his neighbor. It's beautiful. And also, it's a musical, because Dane Terry, the protagonist, and Dane Terry, the creator, is a musician. And so every single episode has incredibly gorgeous music. Sometimes it's non-diegetic music, often it is, but sometimes it's diegetic music. And so that makes this podcast a musical in the same way that something like New York, New York, or Harold and Maude is a musical. A way that is palatable to people who don't necessarily like Sondheim or Lloyd Webber, but just like music. Here's the thing that captured my heart about it. Dreamboy is a genre that I would call magical realism. And I happened upon it at a time in my life where I had moved to a small town. And so I was in a very similar position to Dane, the protagonist. I was this city dweller who had come to this strange, quirky little place. And I was discovering the strange quirks of my town as Dane was discovering the strange quirks of his. And so, because I had this unique sympathy or empathy with the main character of this piece of media, this fiction, it transformed the world around me. It made the world around me more magical. And no other piece of media I have come across has done that to such a scale, where instead of the world being a scary and pessimistic place, the world is an exciting and intriguing and beautiful place. And that is what has broken my heart, that there won't be a season 2 of Dreamboy. It's that transformative quality. So if you are one of those people who is here and hasn't seen it, and you're thinking about seeing it, well, go listen to it. I keep saying seen it, but you don't see a podcast, you listen to it. Go listen to it, because I don't want you to be sad the way I am now, but I want you to have all those wonderful transformative feelings that I had when I listened to it. And I have a lot more feelings and thoughts about Dreamboy and all the threads that were left untied and uncut and unwoven. And I want to examine those. So this will be the first episode of several, I think. And I want you to tell me in the comments what you want finished that was left unfinished, what you wish was finished, and what Dreamboy meant to you and what drew you to it. And the purpose of this exercise is so that we can say goodbye to it in a way that isn't being brave, in a way that isn't brushing our emotions aside, in a way that is reveling in the fact that this podcast ending is sad, and we're allowed to be sad about it. If you'd like to collaborate more with me on this, because it will be a collaboration, I will read all of your comments, then subscribe. And I'll see you for the next video.